Hey everybody, Sunny here. Before we get to the show, I just remind you all where you can listen to my podcast, CasaLoud Chats. I'm on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more streaming platforms. I'm even on YouTube. With YouTube, just search for CasaLoud Chats, and every episode of my show is up there on YouTube. And now, on with the show. And welcome to CasaLoud Chats, a podcast dedicated to Nickelodeon's The Casagrandes and the Loud House universe. And I'm your host, Sunny. And welcome to episode 40 of CasaLoud Chats. And today's going to be a very special episode because we're going to be talking about a very special episode of The Casagrandes, the big crossover episode with The Casagrandes and the Loud House, which was Cursed, which premiered last week, which was very exciting. But what's also exciting because I don't have just one, but two special guests on my show today, two recurring guests that came on my show before, and now they're back. So my first guest I have on today was Hero Nimbus on the show, but now is Niobium Moon. Welcome back to my show, Nino.
Hello, good to be back.
Welcome back. I'm so glad to have you back on. And then my second guest, of course, is YaHomieJD. Welcome back, JD.
Let's do this.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to have you. Yep. So I'm very excited to have you both on because, as some of you may know, that all three of us are big Ronniecoln shippers, and Curse had a lot of Ronniecoln fuel, I would say, in the episode. So I really wanted to have some very dedicated Ronniecoln fans to come on for this episode, but there's also a lot of other stuff we need to discuss as well, because a lot of news just popped out of nowhere this week, so we have a lot to discuss. So yeah. So you guys ready to talk about all this exciting stuff we have to talk about today?
Yep. Let's do it.
Let's be hype.
Let's get into some Casa news. Alright, so our first piece of news for this week is that after the premiere of Curse, we got a promo for the new Christmas episodes of The Loud House and The Casagrandes. They're coming out on December 5th. So we have a big promo for this episode. So, asking you guys for this Christmas promo, is there anything in this promo, any highlights you guys want to talk about with these two episodes coming out?
Okay, well, first off, the Loud family's visit.
Yes! We are all so excited for that. The moment that I saw the Loud show up at the Casagrandes, I jumped out of my seat and I couldn't believe that was actually happening. It's so crazy.
That was the biggest 180 they could have pulled yet.
Yeah, because, we weren't expecting that. And I would have been totally happy with, having a Christmas episode with no Louds, but they're there, and that's really, really exciting.
Yeah, that's going to be really fun, especially since Ronnie and Bobby's dad, Arturo, is also there, so maybe he'll get to meet Lincoln, Lori, and the others.
Yeah,
I feel like he's met Lori before.
Probably, maybe.
Well, maybe. I feel like Bobby would have probably told Arturo about Lori since they're dating, and he likes to tell everybody they're dating.
Yeah, they're dating, yeah.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, maybe they started dating some point, before Maria and Arturo got divorced. Maybe. I don't know.
I feel like it was in that time they were divorced, because again, Arturo was gone for 2 years, and Ronnie would have been 8 years old when her dad left, so technically they would have been dating when her dad was gone in Peru.
Yeah, probably. Makes sense.
That's true.
But yeah, we are all really hyped to see if, the Loud showing up is actually in the episode, or some people and myself are worried that it's just gonna be an ending gag where it's we can't fit everybody, we don't have we don't have any more room, or it's I hope no one else shows up, and then the Loud show up at the end and then they fade to black. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't waste the Louds like that,
That would be such a cop-out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Try
I guess we
something, you
can't,
stick with it.
I guess we can't be too sure, cause I mean, but like then again, like I guess we just, I don't know.
Yeah, we won't know until we
But,
have.
like, it's good.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
It's good to see that they're like there at all. Like I don't know. That was just pretty. It caught me off guard, definitely. And
Yeah, because again,
yeah, and like, yeah, I'm in your zone there. Like, I do kind of hope something actually comes out of it, and it's not just an ending gag.
I mean, it would be like a great surprise though, but it's like, yeah, I wouldn't like it was just like an ending gag and they don't have any interaction. It's just, oh, we showed up, but why? Why are they there? You know, like they give us no explanation. It's just, oh, they're there. But this is the first time in like Loud House and Casagrande history that's not just Lori and Lincoln who are showing up at the Casagrandes, it's their entire family, which makes it even
Yeah, the
more
whole
important.
family.
It's a very important moment. So, because like in that scene, like you see Lincoln and he looks super nervous. And I think that's why he's really nervous because his whole family's showing up and not just him and Lori.
Yeah. Because what happened in Curse happened, but we'll get to that later.
Oh yeah. But I'm hoping that Lincoln showed up and is giving her a present or something.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I mean, technically... Wait, technically he did give her one in Cursed, when you think about it.
What do you mean?
But like, you can say like they gave each other...
They gave each other what?
They gave each other a gift, when you think about it.
What do you mean by a gift?
Like, I don't know really if she kept it or not, but we could technically say Lincoln gifted her the compass.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, yeah. That is true. We don't know if she actually took the compass, but she could have. That is true. You are right about that. We don't know, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so the Loud showing up has a lot of potential, but hopefully it's not just an ending gag and, you know, they just kind of waste the Louds being there. I hope it's actually like part of the episode.
Yeah. And then we saw some of the other like people who live in the apartments. We got like the Changs, Mr. Nakamura, whatever his name was. All those people.
Yeah, like Mr. Nakamura was with Corey, who we've seen before, and I'm like, are they related? Is Corey his son? Because I don't know why they're together.
Yeah, that's my guess too. Like they might be related in some way.
Yeah. Is there also any other highlights from the Christmas promo you guys want to talk about?
Bobby having a snowball fight with Becky and her sibling, I think.
Her twin sister. Yeah, that was strange. I do like Bobby that he's carrying around his guitar in the promo.
He better sing.
Yes.
Sing.
You can't just give us that and not expect a song.
Yeah, my boy's gotta sing.
I feel like because we've seen that sneak peek picture of all of them like holding the candles, and I think Bobby is like playing the guitar at Mr. Hogg. That'll probably be like an ending moment where they're like singing carols together or something.
Yeah, that might be it. They did that with like the 11 Louds of Leapin', so it would make sense to do that kind of thing here.
Yeah. And also like we have the two other Loud House episodes, which are Seasons Cheating and the Flip Christmas Carol, and we saw nothing from the Christmas Carol episode, so I wonder if they're trying to keep that one a secret.
I don't know.
That's
all I can say.
Yeah, because there was a bunch of stuff from the Lincoln one, which a lot of people are worried about, but I will defend my boy in this case, because I feel it'll be a good episode.
Yeah, it might be, like, okay, at least. Like, I don't think it's gonna be, like, awful, per se.
Like, I gotta say, the visuals for the Christmas promo, they're looking really good.
Oh, yeah. They really...
Yeah, they look pretty good.
They really amped up the quality of animation in those episodes, especially the Casagrande Christmas episode. Like, that's the one I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
With Lincoln in the Christmas room, that was nice.
Oh, yeah.
Christmas lights in his room.
I love, like, the lights in Lincoln's room. It's really nice. Like, it's a really nice detail. to remind everybody, the Christmas episodes are happening next week, or this week, as I'm recording, but they're going to be this week, this Saturday, December 5th at 7:30. The Casagrandes are first, and then the Loud House is next, so make sure you don't miss them, because they're going to be really, really exciting episodes, especially the Casagrande Christmas episode. Okay, so our next piece of news, is a bunch of new episodes of Casagrandes just got announced out of nowhere. Like, I wasn't expecting us to get new episode announcements, but apparently after the Christmas episodes, we're not going on hiatus. Because there's going to be, I believe, 2 new episodes on December 12th that were announced, which I will read descriptions for. The first one is a Guilt Trip. Ronnie and her primas try to win a trip around the world for Maria. So, what do you guys think about this episode? We're getting the next Maria episode in the Casagrandes.
It definitely sounds interesting.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a cute one, because, like, I guess Rodian is trying to win this trip for Maria, since like they figure that Maria's been working so much, so it's like, oh, she needs a vacation. So, that's really nice.
They want to give her a vacation. Yeah.
Yes, that's going to be a good one. And then the next one is going to be Shortcut, which we got a sneak peek clip from this episode really early on. I don't know how they were able to do that, but we do have a clip from that episode, which is when Carlota fails at hair cutting, she trains with CJ, the master barber. So, what do you guys think about...
That's going to be good.
Yeah. What do you guys think about CJ and Carlota being paired up in this episode?
Yeah, they both...
Finally.
They've been both in need of a new focus episode for a while, so this is going to be pretty interesting. This is going to be good.
Hey, dual focus is better than separate.
Yeah, because I feel like Carlota has had the least development of all the cousins, so the fact they're pairing her up with CJ, I think will make the episode very interesting for sure.
Yeah, Carlota's kind of underdeveloped. Like, I like her, but she does need more development.
All right, and then after that, we got 2 new episodes, two more new episodes of Casagrandes. We don't have dates for these yet, and one of them doesn't have a description yet. But the first one is No Egrets. Sergio is in for a treat when a group of baby birds thinks he's their mama. Yeah, we get another Sergio episode. Yay! Isn't that exciting?
What's next? We got another flip episode after the Christmas one?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Because we have back-to-back Flip and now back-to-back Sergio. Great. It's like, yeah. Let's pair up Sergio with baby birds to redeem him from the episode where he murdered a chicken. Yeah, I'm not falling for Casagrandes.
Yeah, it exists. It exists, I guess.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be cute, but I don't know if I'll enjoy it as much as I want to.
You want to enjoy it?
I want to, because it sounds like a cute premise of Sergio taking care of baby birds.
Yeah, sure.
But after we got an episode where he murdered a chicken, I'm worried that he's going to do the same to these baby birds. So,
but
that's some Alfred Hitchcock
type. It's something. Like when you go in with low expectations for the episode, usually it turns out okay. Like what happened with New Roomie.
Yeah, I remember we were all like worried about that one that ended up being better than House Flip for sure. But then, of course, bad luck still exists, and I'm worried about this one. I'm sure I'll be fine. And then we have another episode that doesn't have a description yet, which is Meal Ticket, and we don't know what that episode is about yet. We'll probably find out in the coming weeks, so who knows.
Sounds like a Rosa type episode.
I feel like that...
I'm guessing it's like Bobby, Hector, and or Carl. Maybe 2 or all 3. I don't know. But to me, it just kind of sounds like that kind of episode. But we'll see when the description comes out.
Yeah, I feel like it will be
so Slinker Swim and Bobo Business type.
True.
I
yeah.
can see that.
Yeah, I'd like to see their Carl and Bobby episode, but I feel like it will be maybe Hector and Bobby like Boop Boop Business, but not the way that episode turned out.
Right. That episode was, I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as you're a fellow Bobby fan, I know you're not really that fond of Boop Boop Business.
Yeah, I mean, like, he loves the Mercado so much, but then in Bobo Business, he just ditches it because Hector doesn't like his idea.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about that.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't know when those episodes are coming out, but it's very exciting. We're getting more Casagrandes, especially, again, I thought we'd have a hiatus after the Christmas episodes, but no, apparently we're getting new episodes after that, but we don't know about the Loud House yet. Maybe they'll update with the Loud House, but as of right now, we know more about the Casagrandes, which is very exciting.
The Loud House might have some more episodes this month, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Alright, then the next piece of news, of course, for all three of us, as we are all Ronniecoln fans, the 15th Ronniecoln vlog finally came out this week! Isn't this exciting?
Vlog.
At last! A vlog is back! We finally have a 15th one, and I thought it was going to be a Thanksgiving-related one, since the last one they had was Halloween-related, but this one was about them unboxing little mystery packages that they both sent to each other. So, since you guys have...
Packages.
Yep, yeah. So, since you guys haven't been on for the vlogs being around, have you guys been enjoying the Ronniecoln vlogs coming out, and what have been your highlights about, you know, the latest one that came out?
Lincoln gave Ronnie Ann a map of the favorite places he's been to with her in Royal Wood, including the place where they went on that double date.
Yes. Okay, so the fact that, first of all, Lincoln gave her a map of Royal Woods and circled all their, in quotations, favorite spots in Royal Woods, and the first one being the double date at John Wan's. That's the first time they ever mentioned Save the Date in the vlogs. They have never brought that up in the vlogs. And again, Lincoln said double date. And I'm like, they knew what they were doing saying that. I'm just saying.
Yeah. At this point, it's very obvious to me that Lincoln wants to take his relationship with Ronnie Ann a step further. But he's got to wait for the right moment.
Yeah. Because again, that
appreciate all the callbacks they made, though.
Oh, yeah, because it was Save the Date, last Thanksgiving, flips, and then
back out there.
Yeah, back out there. Yeah, when Ronnie gave him the pie, the last thing was the pie. Oh, yeah. Classic Ronnie Ann.
It's still a prankster. That they would bring it up at this time.
Yeah, because with the Casagrandes, with the Casagrandes, I'm always like, they kind of forget that Ronnie Ann does pranks. But then, like, they recently remembered it in Mexican Makeover. It was like, oh, Ronnie Ann, this is one of your pranks, isn't it? And it's like, oh, right. Remember, Ronnie Ann likes doing pranks. But it was really, like, this vlog was really nice, because it was like, oh, they brought each other little gifts that reminded each other of things. And then, of course, don't forget the callback to Don't You Forget About Me, where Lincoln recorded the video of Ronnie Ann skating around Fairway. That was so nice to hear that one, too.
And Ronnie Ann actually sent him that footage in the box.
Yeah, so she had it the whole time, and then she gave it back to him, which was really sweet. And he also brought her a Flippy again.
Melted.
But he remembers her favorite flavor, which is so cute. Oh man, I love these vlogs, man. Like, they just give us really good, like, Ronniecoln fuel in these vlogs. Like, super duper adorable stuff with them. And then it's like the callbacks and all the ship hinting. It's like, I still can't stop thinking about Lincoln giving her that map. It's like, our favorite spots in Royal Woods. Like, not mine, not yours, our favorite spots. Literally, and then one of them is Save the Dates. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of hinting there, man. I was gonna say, there's anything else you guys want to talk about with the vlogs before we move on?
Honestly, these vlogs, like, I'm surprised they haven't just decided to digitalize these and make them their own podcast thing. I mean, yeah, we have familiar sounds and listen out, but it wouldn't hurt to try that, though.
Oh man, I've been wanting a Ronniecoln podcast, like either on the main one or Familiar Sounds, because we had Sidani, we've had Click and McLeod, but it would be cool if they did like a crossover with the podcast, because Ronnie did mention Lincoln in the first Familiar Sounds, where she was like, oh, well yeah, Lincoln and his sisters have a podcast. It's like, why don't we just get one? But I feel like these are like making up for the fact that we don't have a podcast with the two. But the vlogs are just so nice, because it's like just the two of them talking to each other for like 8 to 10 minutes, you know.
Really cute stuff.
Yeah. And they pump them out, like, they used to pump them out constantly, but now they're like, they remember that the vlogs exist, so it's like, oh, like, everybody's been enjoying these, so let's continue to bring them back every once in a while. So it's nice that they didn't abandon them after, because, like, we had the 11th I think it was the 12th vlog that we took a hiatus, which I assume was because of COVID. But then once they realized that they could record from home or go back to the studio, they're like, well, we could still pump out a few of these vlogs because we could just do the puppet animation and, you know, Isabel and Asher could record from home. We could do that for content. So it's still nice that they still make these for us. It's really nice.
Yeah, plus YouTube monetization. They gotta rake that in.
That's true. That's true. Well, I mean, the YouTube channel pumps out like content a lot, but then it's also like those weird compilations of the stinkiest stuff in the Loud House. It's like, okay, they're running out of ideas.
And then it's like clips from the episodes and whatnot.
Sounds very suspect.
Yeah, true. But yeah, it was nice to get another vlog, and hopefully we'll get another one next month. Maybe they'll have it in time for Christmas or New Year or just another random one like this one, but it's always nice to get these. All right, so
New Year's, maybe one for both.
Oh yeah,
because I'm looking back on the old vlogs, they made one for both New Year's and Christmas.
They did, yeah. I love the Christmas one.
Yeah.
The Christmas one was really cute because they both sang Jingle Bells at the end, and the New Year's one was alright. Like, I liked that one, but it wasn't as strong as the Christmas one, but I still think my favorite one is still number 11, just because of Lincoln giving Ronnie in that Yukon hoodie. Still like the greatest thing ever happened in the vlogs.
It's not my favorite one, actually.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
14 or 15.
Oh, yeah. The Halloween one was good too, but it's just nice to always get these, no matter what kind of topic they're talking about with each other, you know, so it's always nice to get Ronniecoln fuel.
The more Ronniecoln, the better.
Yeah, because, like, guys, we won this week. We got Cursed, and we got the vlog, man. We just keep winning. And then maybe next week, if, you know, the Louds do play a role in the Christmas episode, we might get a Ronniecoln moment, and then we win 3 times in a row.
I'm saying, I think I know that those shows are same universe and all that, but I'm saying, like, I think they connected to each other to the point where, like, it could potentially be happening in the same week, and where Lincoln could potentially acknowledge Season's cheating, for all we know, when he goes to visit her.
That could happen, because someone on the Discord pointed out that in one of the clips where the Louds were having Christmas Eve dinner, the day that the Casagrandes celebrate their Christmas, their Noche Via or Noche Chia or however you say it, their Christmas is celebrated on Christmas Eve. So we were kind of connecting that maybe Noche Buena, thank you. I don't know how to say it, but yes, thank you. They celebrate Christmas Eve, so when the Louds said they were having Christmas Eve dinner, we were thinking, well, maybe that scene, because there's like a random bunch of garbage that shows up in the house when they're trying to have dinner. So we were all thinking, maybe that's when the Louds actually show up to the Casagrandes after their meal gets ruined or something. Maybe they have Christmas dinner and then they somehow just show up at the Casagrandes 3 hours after or something. I don't know. But again, you know, we can have...
I said that's believable.
True, but then again, the Loud House has had three April Fool's Day episodes in a row with no clear timeline or the characters aging up, so I guess it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that kind of thing just happens. So I guess we'll see how it turns out when we actually watch the episodes.
Yeah, so, yes, alright, so let's move on to the last piece of news, which is that actually, tonight as we're recording, on Saturday, Nickelodeon is going to be having their All-Star Nickmas Spectacular special, which I'm saying this because I know probably a lot of us aren't going to be watching it, but I'm going to be watching it because apparently Lincoln, Lucy, and Ronnie are going to be making cameos in this spectacular special. But I think it's just going to be where they're just going to show up and be like, oh, I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas or whatever, but I might just watch it just to see if anything happens, or maybe Lincoln and Ronnie and talk to each other or something, I don't know. But are you guys going to check this out, or are you just going to wait till, like, maybe I'll talk about it, or...
Yeah, for me, it just kind of exists. But then, like, I'll be on Twitter, and if anything happens with Ronniecoln and you're talking about it, you know I'm going to like those posts.
Oh, yeah. If anything happens with Ronniecoln that's special, yeah, you know I'll be all for it. But yeah, so... Yeah. Just so everybody knows, it was... Yeah. So it was tonight at 9 p.m. as we're recording this is on Saturday, but I will make sure to check it out. But yes, that is all the news this week for the Loud House and the Casagrandes. I was going to do YouTube updates, but I'll do that another time. So we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about the big Casagrande special, the Curse special, which is a big special, and the crossover special, of course, with the Louds as well. So yes, the big Casagrande Special Curse we're going to be talking about when we get back.
Let's get cleansed.
You are all now cleansed.
And we are back to talk about the big Casagrande, sort of crossover, but big Casagrande Special Curse, which is technically the season 1 finale of the Casagrandes, even though it's episode 19, but it feels like a big finale of season 1. So yes, we are going to get into talking about Cursed as a special, which is Rosa thinks that the entire city is cursed thanks to Ernesto. So before we get into big details, talking about big details of the special, I want to ask you both your overall thoughts on the special. So Nino, I'd like you to go first. Nino, what are your overall thoughts on Cursed as a special?
All right. Well, it was pretty okay. Like, I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. Cause like it was mostly like just trying to like piece my thoughts together. There were definitely some things that happened that I wasn't really expecting. Okay, I'm trying to think of like something that. Okay, yeah. So the last part where it turned out that Ernesto made it up about the city being cursed because he had a pimple and didn't want people to see it. That was definitely something I wasn't expecting. I also just like seeing all the moments of like the Casagrandes and the Loud siblings just like interacting like just a little bit, even if they didn't really talk. Like in particular, Ronnie and acknowledging Lisa.
Yes,
that was a pretty good part.
I finally got my victory for once. I've been waiting for Ronnie to acknowledge a Loud sister that isn't Lori, and she finally said Lisa's name in the show. I did a victory dance on that. I'm so happy.
Yeah, that was cool. I'll carry it over to JD for now.
Yeah, so JD, what about you? Overall thoughts on Curse as a special?
It is a very unique special. Like, from all the clips, I like the clips and the promos, we thought things were gonna... Some things actually ended up happening differently. Like the flood, we thought that was gonna be Lana. Nope. Straight up being the big crier she is. But yeah, it was awesome, to say the least. The cleansing sequence was a very had a very drug trip-like feel. But it was nice.
That was definitely something.
Yeah, that was...
Like, they all got some dance moves, especially Ronnie and Bob.
Oh yeah, her little wavy arms, like, oh my god. So great.
Yeah.
Her choices were on point, though.
I love the color palette in that scene. Like, the Casagrandes have such a great color palette in their show, so the blues and the blues and pinks.
Casagrandes' only thing.
Yeah, so well done.
Yeah, Casagrandes like to have a lot of fun with the animation.
But JD, anything else about Curse you want to say?
Oh boy, I cannot wait to go mental about this.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I gotta go last, and then we can go all full mental on certain scenes that we want to talk about, yeah. So as for me, for the special, I have to say I really did enjoy it a lot. Like, some people are disappointed by certain stuff, and I can agree, yeah, the Louds and Casagrandes interaction wasn't as long as we wanted it to be, But I overall really liked it as the special. It's probably a stronger special than Operation Dad, and everybody knows my very strong feelings on Operation Dad. That I was very disappointed by that special, but this one I had a lot of fun with, and I just thought it was really, really fun, and some good stuff in it. And yeah, the cleansing scene was great. The Louds and Casagrandes being with each other was great, and just there was a lot of good stuff in it. So overall, really liked it.
Yeah, for me, Cursed didn't disappoint. It, like, pulled the rug out from under my feet.
Yeah.
The scene.
The scene! Okay.
The scene.
We need to talk about the scene! Okay, yeah, we gotta jump right into the scene. Okay.
Chris really said, I like your cut, G.
Miguel really said, Casagrandes really said, okay, you guys want Ronnie, kid? Oh, you want a hug? Oh, no, we won't give you a hug. We'll give you angst. We'll give you angst. Oh my god, okay.
It's getting emotional now.
Okay, so the scene that we're talking about is, the scene where after the Casagrandes, their plan fails to get them to go home with Rosa. Rosa drags them to the woods, which is like, not the best idea of Rosa's part, but she drags them out, and then we see Ronnie. She's really upset in the car. She puts her hand to the window, and as they're driving away, the only character you see in the shot watching her is Lincoln, until they cut to the entire family. And you know what else is sad about that scene? Is that Lincoln says, "Smell you later," and that's what's even sadder about it. So
yeah. Like they really know what they're doing. They knew what they were doing. Like,
yeah.
They could have easily had it be Bobby and Lori, but the fact that it was Ronniecoln, oh my gosh.
There's just so much. There's like
you expected to happen with Bobby, but with Ronniecoln it just hits that much more.
It's like this is the next step in their development as a relationship, because again, with Ronnie putting her hand in the window and looking so sad and looking to Lincoln, it's really emphasizing that she, in her heart, misses Lincoln, even though she would never admit it. Like, that's just, like, the best way to show that she misses Lincoln. And again, he's the one that's watching her leave before they cut to the entire family. Like, they knew what they were doing. That, again, like you said, they could have had Lori and Bobby. This seems like a Lori and Bobby moment where, like, Lori's chasing after the car and she's crying and something. But again, they kept the focus on Lincoln and Ronnie, which makes it even more impactful, because we've never gotten a scene like this with them before, which is really emotional.
Yeah, exactly. It's that kind of show, don't tell thing. And I talked about this on Twitter, but, okay, I'm about to go mental.
Yes,
okay, so,
please go.
Remember Horoscope? Ernesto said he predicted that Ronnie would find love. Like, he didn't say she would find it right there on the spot, right away, immediately. He didn't say that. He said that she would find love. So, like, you already know the cop-out ending with Ronnie technically finding love, but it's lovebirds. But that's not what Ernesto meant. So, when you think about it, the cursed scene, where the Casagrandes are all driving away, Ronnie looking back at Lincoln through the window. It's that show don't tell thing that she really is gonna miss Lincoln. Then they make a pit stop at Flip, and Ronnie like, guess I should use the bathroom for my last moment in civilization. But then she sees Ernesto's van right there next to Flip in Royal Woods. And he's technically the reason that Ronniecoln has been brought together twice, only to be split apart again due to circumstances. All I'm saying is, the universe works in mysterious ways.
You know it, man. Like, yeah. JD, do you want to go full mental on anything for this scene or anything about Ronniecoln?
Yes.
Your mic is yours.
Okay, I mentioned this on Discord on how every relationship in both shows has a thread that is torn, but it is for a reason and not just there to be there. What's the Ronniecoln thread that's torn? Fear and distance. Lincoln's fear that he's going to jeopardize everything by confessing, and Ronnie's fear that their friendship is going to be over if he actually goes through with it. And then the distance, because he watched her leave him twice, and he's not even a grown dude. He's like, this man, to watch the person you deeply, enjoyingly care about the most, to watch them have to leave you twice within a small span of time, like, we could say that's like a few months, right? Lincoln just went, Ronniecoln is like, Lincoln goes through pain, but he also goes through experiences too. Let's be honest. He might have looked happy on the outside in relative chaos, but that man was like, and I'm really all alone now.
Yeah, and then
It's taken away from Yamato.
And then in the Christmas special, you see the Loud family come up to the door, and he's looking nervous. So
And it's Christmas, aka mistletoe season.
Yeah, who knows what's gonna come out of that? You know.
I feel like realistically we won't get a Ronniecoln mistletoe kiss. It'll probably be a lobby because of course it will.
That's probably a lobby
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, I would be like really shocked if like Lincoln's giving her the present and they end up at the mistletoe, but they don't actually realize it until they look up or somebody points it out. It's like the subtle hinting of that.
Yeah.
How many times
I
have I seen that as fan art?
I don't think there will be a Ronniecoln like mistletoe kiss, but at the very least, I'm hoping he gives her a gift, like he usually does when he comes to the mirror.
But JD, is there anything else you want to say before I go full mental?
Okay, that's gonna be crazy.
Anything else before I go full mental?
That scene is absolutely depressing. And I feel like, but I could say this. First is like Iron Man 2. The more stuff that comes out related to Ronniecoln, the more it's going to be called back to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so
That scene for no reason. And now you may go full mental.
all right, it's my turn to step up to the mic.
Okay.
So, you know,
Here we
here
go.
we go. 3 hours later. So, you know, I am, of course, one of the biggest Ronniecoln shippers in the entire fandom. I've done a full analysis on their relationship, and I still say, without any sort of doubt or no denying it, Ronniecoln has the best relationship development of any couple in both shows. I'm sorry. No couple has had the biggest development they've had in every single episode or moment with these two. Every single moment, there's a big development moment for the next step in their huge development. Because, like, I said this on Twitter, and I literally thought about this in the middle of the night, and I made a post about it so I wouldn't forget. So in Cursed, you know, Lincoln is really excited to see Ronnie, and like he says, they're here. Like he runs to the door, he opens the door, Ronnie is there. He's so excited she's here, only for him to be so upset that he has to watch her leave at the end. That's what's so depressing about it, because he was so happy he finally got her back in Royal Woods to spend time with her. They're in their house, and he's so happy to be with her. And they're with each other throughout the entire episode. There's like no moment besides maybe when Ronnie and her family go to bed that Lincoln and Ronnie are not next to each other. They're with each other in every single moment. And it just shows that these two really love being with each other and aren't scared to be with each other, even if both of their families are around. Because I said this on Twitter where, like, you know, I kind of miss the sisters being, like, you know, excited and fangirling over Lincoln and Ronnie and being together. But I am happy that now that the sisters have kind of backed out of meddling in Lincoln's love life, he can finally be chill around Ronnie and sit next to her without his family making a huge fuss about it. But, like, again, like, he was so excited for her to come over, only, again, to watch her leave in the end. And, again, he sadly says, smell you later, which, by the way, that's the first time Lincoln's ever said smell you later, because that's Ronnie's little, like, catchphrase or goodbye thing she would say to Lincoln. Now, the first time they ever said it was in Relative Chaos, and he said, not if I smell you first. But every other time, she's always said, smell you later, ever since Relative Chaos. So the first time he ever says, smell you later, in their relationship, is a sad moment where he has to watch her leave to go off to the woods. Like, again, they didn't have to do that whole scene as emotional as they did. But the fact, again, that it's Ronnie Ann who's watching Lincoln, and she puts her hand in the window, and she's so sad, and he's the one that's watching her leave before it cuts to everybody, and they added the smell you later line, really makes it the next step in their development as a relationship. And the Casagrandes have done such a great job with that. Because, we had Horoscope, which was the shipping fuel episode for them, and, hinting at things that Lincoln could have feelings for her, we don't know, and, Ronnie and having fear of that. But this is like the next part where, I really want Ronnie Ann to develop her feelings for Lincoln more than Lincoln, because we've seen so much of his developing feelings for her, and how excited he gets to hang out with her, or really just being around her. Whereas Ronnie Ann, we don't know how she feels, besides being paranoid about ruining their friendship and they became a thing. But in that tiny little moment in Cursed, it really showed that deep down inside, she really does care about Lincoln and loves spending time with him and doesn't want to lose him, just like all her other fears of her friends, because we've talked about how she has anxiety about losing her friends or her parents' divorce and all that stuff. So Lincoln's a very important person in her life that she doesn't want to lose. So in that moment, it really shined that she does really miss him deep down inside. And I'm like, yes, that is the next step in their development. That's the next step. And then, maybe something will happen in the Christmas episode, we don't know. But Casagrandes really has done a great job with developing their relationship. And then, of course, we have seasons 2 and 3 to look forward to more crossover and eventually more development with them. So I just never thought we would get a moment like that in the show ever, but we did. And again, it's the next step in their relationship development. And I'm still thinking about that moment that should have been so emotional and sad. And again, that's the last time the Louds ever saw the Casagrandes. And again, it was focusing on Ronnie and Lincoln, and it could have been Lori and Bobby. But no, they kept the focus on Ronniecoln throughout the entire special. And there's just so much they could do with that. So yeah, I'm done now.
Yeah, exactly. Ronnie Ann has her fear of losing people, like friends. Lincoln has that fear too, as we saw in Friends in Dry Places and episodes like that. This is the kind of thing where we start to see that those fears of losing each other, and that's really intriguing to see, especially for Ronniecoln as a whole. To me, it just really feels like the show's kind of like they're taking that next step, and they're slowly yet surely working towards making Ronniecoln official at some point down the line.
Yeah, because another thing I wanted to say before I ask other people, ask you guys other opinions, but the next thing I want to say is that in Cursed, when the Casagrandes show up at the Loud House, you see Ronnie in the middle and she says, "Hi, Link," and then all of them show up. But then in the Christmas special, when the Louds show up, it's Lincoln who's in the middle with the Louds, showing up at the Casagrandes. So again, they're still giving those parallels between Lincoln and Ronnie Ann in that way, Because I'm thinking, they're both the protagonists of their main shows. But again, Ronnie's in the middle at the Loud House, and Lincoln's in the middle at the Casagrandes. So I'm still saying there's those parallels between the two.
Yeah, those parallels that make it all the more intriguing.
Yeah. JD.
The parallels are what make the relationship's development all the more better.
Exactly. Yeah, because like you said, Nino, they both have those insecurities about losing their friends, but again, in a different sense, because Lincoln's more of his social status versus Ronnie Ann with her family issues. And again, we've all wanted to see, well, if they both have these fears about losing their friends, how come they don't feel that way about each other? And Curse really showed that. It showed a moment of, yes, they both have a fear of losing each other and are scared of losing each other in that moment. So it's just so much, there's just so much to think about with that one scene that that really should not have been as impactful as it was, but it really does. It's like, to me, it's gonna go down as one of the biggest stepping stones in the Ronniecoln relationship once we get more moments. Like, that's the beginning of it. Like, Horoscope, I feel like, was kind of the beginning of it, but it was more of like, okay, we kind of are doing this, but we don't know where we're gonna go in this direction. But I feel like after Curse, that's the step. That's like Horoscope was like the tiny baby step where it's like, oh, we're starting out slowly, but we don't know where we're going. But Curse is like, oh, now we're good. Now we're getting somewhere, you know? So
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But is there anything else you guys want to talk about Ronniecoln wise before we talk about any other elements of Curse that we like? So
Watch this episode. This episode be referenced so many times. Like, I don't know if they'll introduce like the concept of flashbacks in the show. Oh wait, they did.
yeah.
The role model, they introduced the flashbacks. I feel like they're gonna do this more in like the next 2.5 seasons.
Yeah, maybe. I'd like to see that if they do more flashbacks, especially if they do them correctly and don't do it like White Hair did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah, but I think at this point that I feel like this is the point that the writers of both shows like are kind of starting to like know what they're doing more, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Because, like, again, with that moment where, like, you know, they could have just cut to the entire family first. That could have been so easy for them to do. But the fact that they cut to Lincoln first and then the whole family, it seriously feels like they know what they're doing. And they're listening to I feel like they're listening to the fan feedback. Because they know how, you know, how big Ronniecoln is in our fandom. And, you know, we're like, well, yeah, we want to see what else you could do with them. Like, just don't forget about them. They're kind of important, not just because they're the main characters of both series, but because they've had this really long and developing relationship that you shouldn't forget, you know?
Yeah, the kind of thing that started way back in season 1.
Yeah, it's been a long-running thing, and I'm really happy they finally have been really slowly starting to realize that, hey, these two actually need to develop and have focus, because again, Ronnie is the main character of the Casagrandes. We can't just be having Bobby mention Lori a million times. No offense, Nino.
I mean, none taken. Like, well, I mean, like, I like Lori and Bobby. I like them as a couple, but like, then again, they don't need to have Bobby bring it up every single time. Like, we get it. You're dating. We know.
I mean,
it's just like Lori always brought it up a lot in the earlier seasons of the Loud House.
I was gonna say, I'm sure you enjoyed that scene when they were making Google eyes at each other at the bathroom door.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, sort of, but then, like, considering the circumstances where they're all, like, lining up at the bathroom. Like, Bobby's just existed as Lori's boyfriend for, like, the longest time, and, like, now that the Casagrandes spin-off is a thing, and Bobby can do more as his own character, like an individual. I just want to see, like, more of that. Like, Bobby being his own character and not just being Lori's boyfriend. So, like, I do agree that he shouldn't bring her up, like, every possible chance he can get. Like, it just gets old, you know? I just want him to, like, develop more as an individual character. And also, where's the freaking Ronnie and Bobby bonding episode?
Oh my god, when?
I haven't done that yet.
Oh, we all want a Ronnie and Bobby bonding episode. Where is it? Where's the bonding episode?
Yeah, like, I remember you were I remember one day you were talking about a dream you had where they got lost in the forest or something.
Oh my god. Let me because I remember it very fondly. I had a dream about Ronnie and Bobby, and like they just randomly ended up in the forest, and like Bobby got stuck in the mud or something, and Ronnie was getting furious with him or something. But then like they started having a heart to heart, and Ronnie was like, you know, like ever since we've gone to the city, things have been different since we moved from Royal Woods. your girlfriend Lori's in college, and they cut to Lori at Fairway just randomly golfing, and then it cut back to Ronnie, and she said like, and Lincoln, and she just started like having this really soft sigh, like she was like, I miss him or something like that. But then she was like saying how, now that we're in the city, even though I have Sid and my friends, and you have, Par and stuff, we still have each other. And I was like, that's the perfect premise for an episode, to acknowledge that they're so important to each other. Because, like, what's love got to do with it had the line of, you're my brother, I'm not leaving without you. That's the potential right there. Why don't you do anything with it?
Exactly. Yeah, and then when you were talking about that, like, I added on to the idea of it, and it was like, Bobby's just like, like he acknowledges that Ronnie and feels like they're drifting apart, but he says like, I'm just as scared of us drifting apart because I work as much as I do because I don't want to let the family down. I don't want to let you down. I'm always scared that I'm not good enough. And then she's like, you may not be the perfect brother, but you're my brother, and that's all that matters to me.
Yeah, because, like, before they moved to the city, they only had each other. Like, of course, Bobby had Lori, but they only had each other in Royal Woods, and, now everything's changed, but their relationship shouldn't change at all, because I've mentioned in Living La Casa Loud, there's the My Bobby and Me comic, where Ronnie and Bobby spend the day together, and then Ronnie is, like, upset that she's been kind of, like, getting in the way of, like, Bobby showing her cool stuff, but Bobby's like, no, I'm really proud of the way you've adjusted to city life, and that should have been its own episode. That should not have been a comic. Like, that right there you could do so much with. It just,
Like, yeah, it really shows that they do care about each other, and just, like, I want to see more of that,
Yeah, because, like, in Stress Test, I do like Ronnie N recognizing that Bobby really loves the Mercado, and that's the only way he could study, and that was a great moment with them. Or, like, Bobby, like, comforting Ronnie N about their dad, and how she thinks he should come back, but really not, but that's it. Like, we just get little moments with them together in the background, but not a single episode about, them being siblings.
Stress Test is the episode. Stress Test is the episode that made me like Bobby as a character, honestly.
I actually had a theory about this.
Oh, do tell.
The other Casa episode, what's it called again? Not the Sergio one. The one that isn't about murder.
Oh, it's the it's the meal ticket one.
About meal ticket?
Yeah, like for all we know, that could be a Bobby and Ronnie episode if they choose to.
So,
I feel like not 100%, but I feel like it might be an episode about them, because for all we know, they could potentially enjoy cooking. They could potentially have a shared interest in cooking, and then they expand upon it. But that,
yeah, but I mean, like, then again, for all we know, it could just be Carl scamming.
Yeah. As much as I would want that, it's probably just another Carl scheme again. Ha ha ha. I mean, like, if Bobby and Ronnie are involved, then maybe that would be nice. But it's like, another Carl focus episode, and Ronnie is suspicious about him or not, according to plot. But we've gone off the rails for a second. But I want to shift it back to Curse for a second. But so we've talked a long length about Ronniecoln, obviously. But for you guys, is there anything in Curse like in the special? Is there any other highlights you guys want to talk about with the special besides the very important shipping stuff? But is there anything else in Curse that you guys really like that you want to talk about?
okay, no one really talks about this, but can we just give props to George Lopez for being him and making it funny?
George Lopez is a great actor.
He's a freaking funny comedian. The man is funny.
Yeah, it really seems like he has a lot of fun playing Ernesto Estrella.
The color palette was a highlight, especially during the drug trip cleanse. more importantly, you can feel like if you pay close attention to the way they were writing things, other than Ronniecoln and all that, writing went up a significant amount in this episode. Like, you think?
Yeah, and honestly,
think that hearing Ernesto, do you think Rosa being a super fan of Ernesto isn't unlikely, but she's literally. But I think that's an interesting concept they expanded upon, that Rosa is a bit of a nerd too. And I feel like if you delve into it enough, you could have like.
Yeah.
This. So, like, what if they have Comic-Con in their universe? What are they gonna do?
Yeah. Rosa's got Ernesto merch in the same way Sid's got Yoon Kwan merch.
Well, I mean, in the Loud House, they had King of the Con, which they had an A-Savvy convention. So maybe they have, like...
Yeah.
I know Ronnie had mentioned one time in the vlog that her and Sid were going to a 12 is Midnight convention, so I would be surprised if Ernesto, like, shows up at conventions and stuff to promote things, like his book. I hope this isn't the last time we see Ernesto, since technically Ronnie had found out he was a fake, so I hope this isn't the last time we see him.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he'll show up again, but, like, we'll see. We'll see what happens, like, down the road. Like,
I'm just, like, I was kind of upset that Ronnie didn't mention anything from Horoscope, because, again, this is the guy that made her so paranoid about Lincoln being in love with her. You would think she was still on PTSD because of that, you know? Because, like, oh, wait, he's a fake? So, like, you're telling me I was worried about Lincoln being in love with me for nothing? You know? Because, like, that should have been kind of a thing, because, like, yeah, she was mad at him for this whole situation, but added to the fact that she was also, like, very paranoid about Lincoln being in love with her, and it turned out it's not technically true, and it technically wasn't true, but even though Ernesto is still fake, so technically her horoscope was true, so, you know, I was just kind of upset they didn't mention anything from Horoscope.
Oh, firstly, he never said she would exactly find love in that moment. Secondly, I feel like her being pissed in the moment he showed up was good enough.
That's true, yeah.
The whole moment was... I feel like if it wasn't for the fact that this is a kid's show, she would have just murked him the moment he appeared.
Yeah, because, like,
right.
I know you guys have said that she wasn't going to find love that moment, but technically in the episode, Ernesto said, for today, you will find love, but, again, like, the signs that were pointing to his definition of love was romantic love, because there was a heart and stuff, and the arrow, and then love, meaning romantic love, not the lovebird. So I feel like Ernesto is technically right, but also because he's a fake, I don't know, because, like, we don't really know if he is right or wrong in this sense, because it was proven in this episode that he's just a TV show host, kind of like, you know, Hunter Spector in ARG when Lincoln found out that he was a fake. But they still watch it, so I don't know what's right or wrong.
Yeah, and then Ghost did happen, so, like, technically ghosts are still real, but...
That's true. Yeah, because ghosts do exist, apparently, in the Loud House, so maybe Ernesto is right, we just don't know, because, you know, this episode says that he's wrong, he's not a real psychic, but he could be, we just don't know, because, you know.
He could be a psychic in, like, a different way.
In a different sense, yeah.
And you brought up horoscope, like you did say that you were like technically Ernesto did say people would find love that day.
Yeah, he said today.
So like, yeah. So like I get that. I feel like I can kind of sort of link that to like the Ronniecoln thing I was going off about earlier. Like he said, find love. So like, maybe it wasn't about like Ronnie Ann and Lincoln just falling in love right there on the spot, but Ronnie Ann would find the person she was going to fall in love with. The fact that Lincoln called like literally right after
like Lincoln Loud, good timing on his end. Like, yeah, the fact that like she literally got the prediction that moment that Lincoln called, it's still like the sense that yes, Lincoln is the one that she's finding. Because again, he's coming to the city. She found him coming to the city, but again, like the cop-out ending was she found Sid's lovebird. But again, Ernesto meant romantic love, not animal love. Like literally romantic love.
Yeah, like honestly, yeah. Something I'm thinking about like right now is like I just thought of this. Like if there's another Ronniecoln thing, and like Ernesto shows up again. Like I imagine like Ronnie and confronting him like why do you even bother? You're a fake. You said I would find love, but I haven't found it. But then he's like, I only said you would find love. I didn't say you would fall in love. And then like what if he's eventually the one who somehow helps Ronnie Ann realize that maybe she does have feelings for Lincoln.
Yeah, cause like again, Ernesto was introduced in Horoscope, which was the Ronniecoln episode, and then he was brought back here again, which had Ronniecoln in it. And so I'm saying Ernesto is the connecting link between the Lincoln and Ronnie Ann with them coming together. So again, if there were to be another Ronniecoln episode in Casagrandes, and somehow Ernesto is linked to that again, that means he is the glue that holds them together, and he is the driving force to where something will happen between them, and like maybe Ronnie Ann finally realizes like, why is Ernesto always showing up whenever I'm going over to Lincoln, or Lincoln's coming to me, or why is Ernesto always here? And then she's like, oh my god, what he said is actually true, you know? But I think, again, she needs to realize it herself instead of relying on a silly prediction that obviously she thinks didn't happen. Because, you know, she said like, oh, I didn't find love. You know, like she tried to brush it off like it was nothing, but clearly she was like denying it. But I love this Ronniecoln talk, guys, but we still need to stay on topic.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. I shouldn't say that, but yeah. There's one thing I wanted to bring up with Curse was that, and I think we all could generally agree on this. The Louds, why did they decide to put all the Casagrandes into Lynn and Lucy's room and make them sleep in coffins?
Yeah, Bobby got scared when he saw things.
We agreed that Bobby got abused the whole episode.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry for your boy.
Yeah, he's got to deal with a lot.
I mean, even when Bobby tripped into the mud, Lori didn't look concerned at all. She didn't even run to go check on him. You know, it's just like, that's your boyfriend. And it's like, oh, I'm alright. And Lori doesn't even go to check on him.
Yeah. That happened.
Double regress in 2 months.
Yeah, but like, that's the thing, because like, why don't the Louds know how to have guests over their house? Like, because again, like someone said that like Lincoln and Clyde had a sleepover at one point. They all had sleeping bags for them. Why couldn't they just let them sleep in other rooms on the floor or something? Like, I know Ronnie was like, oh, at least we don't have to sleep on the floor. But then she was like, I'd rather sleep on the floor. Yeah, why don't you just go to another room? Ask Lincoln to sleep on his floor or anywhere else. They could have just said, why can't we just go into another room? Why do we have to sleep in coffins? You know, who made this decision?
Also, frenzy happened in the Loud House. Like, there were a lot of people there. Like, literally every sibling, except maybe Lily. Like, they all brought their friends over. That just got packed. Like, what happened in Curse, that was nothing compared to what happened in Frenzy.
Yeah, but, like, with Frenzy, they weren't staying over. They were just having a party until their parents got back home. So, like, but the Casagrandes were staying overnight. So they were like, okay, let's let them sleep in coffins. That's the best solution for guests. Like, the Louds have never had guests over, like, to sleep over for the night? Like, come on, I don't believe that. I really don't.
Yeah, are you... yeah, and Last Loud on Earth or something. Like, Lincoln and Clyde just stayed up all day watching those zombie movies. But then again, Clyde is one person. That's not a whole family. So, like... I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why why couldn't they sleep in Lisa's bunker? You know, she has a bunker. Why can't they sleep in there?
Lisa's bunker is right there. Continuity? What's that?
Exactly. Because like, where did Lynn and Lucy sleep? Did they sleep on the couch? Did they sleep in Lincoln's room again, like a Space Invader? Like, we don't know where they ended up. But it's like they had to give away their rooms to the Casagrandes, which to me isn't very fair. But also, again, they could just let them sleep in sleeping bags on the floor, which would have been the best solution. But it's like, no, like, next time you do, like, I have to say, next time they have a crossover and the Casagrandes do stay over the Louds, just let them sleep on the floor. That was a dumb idea to let them sleep in Lynn Lucy's room. I don't know why they did that. I really don't.
Were those coffins even washed? Like, how can you have 25 people in one house, but you didn't make sure to at least clean your house?
Well, I mean, it was a last-minute thing. They were expecting the Casagrandes to show up. But yeah, also the fact of, again, those coffins, there could have been dead people in there. Again, why did Lucy think that was a good idea? Why didn't Lori let Bobby sleep in her bed? You know, the couple that's kind of together that should be sleeping together?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, isn't that kind of like, Lori? Why did you have to put Bobby through all that?
No concern for her boyfriend, even though they're dating. It's like Bobby slid down the mud. Oh, he's fine. He sleeps in the coffin. Oh, it's fine. Like, why couldn't he sleep in her room? You know, they can sleep together. They're literally a couple. I don't see what's wrong with that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they're 18 at this point anyway. Because like Lori, like as far as I know, you got to be like 18 to move out of your parents and like go to a college dorm or something like that. As far as I know,
I'm gonna be 17 when I actually go to college.
So like, it's not like. So I mean, it's not like it makes much of a difference. Like, they're a couple anyway. Lori, let Bobby sleep in your room. He is your boyfriend. Like, I mean, I know I said earlier that I don't want Bobby to be depicted as just Lori's boyfriend, and that's what I liked about episodes like Stress Test and This Bird Is Blown. But, like, you know,
they could have slept on the couch. Someone could take the couch, not just the Loud. The couch is free. Just let like them sleep on the couch. Like, they can share one couch. That's fine. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know who decided on this and thought it was a good idea. But again, if they ever do a crossover like this again, just let them sleep on the floor. You know, think about
Lucy would absolutely. I'm pretty sure Lucy did not like the idea of them sleeping in coffins. Like, I don't know why. I just feel like she wouldn't like it.
I mean, she was fine with it. She was like, I hope you guys have a good night, and just walked out the door like,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, she was like, I hope you guys have a good night. It's like, really? You think this is a good idea too? Like, who sleeps in coffins besides you?
Like, where did she even get all those coffins? Are those like the Mortician's Club coffins that were in Ghosted when the Haiku and all the others like came to the college fairway? Or I don't know. I just don't.
I believe so.
I believe Lucy just has a whole collection of coffins because, you know, she does like her, you know, Mortician Club thing, and then she also helps with funerals, so she probably has a whole stack of them in her closet or something.
Yeah, but, like, are you sure you want to do this?
I said that's believable, but I was about to say, are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Like, it is believable. I mean, it's believable at the very least.
It's a little creepy, but it's believable.
That's true, yeah.
I was gonna say, who the hell would collect coffins for sport?
Lucy, obviously.
Lucy. Who else? Well, the only one I can think of is Lucy. And all our Mortician Club friends. Let's see. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss with Curse? Anything else? Any other highlights from the special?
Okay, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. Okay, yeah, like, I remember now, like, JD, do you want to go first? I feel like I take up too much.
JD, is there any other highlights you want to talk about with Cursed?
So, Lynn essentially gimped every lobby fan when you think about it.
Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah. We almost got a lobby kiss.
You're right about that.
Almost got a lobby kiss. Oh man, the last time we got an official lobby kiss in the show was last Thanksgiving on the lips, and then they almost kissed here, but then Lynn just cucked them. But I feel like we'll get a kiss in the Christmas episode.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like here, Lynn just goes, yeet, and pushes right on past them. Where they're like football push or something. I don't know. It was just crazy.
She hit Bobby with the toilet paper. She hit with that, like, I need that. Like,
yeah.
Like, Lynn, that was super rude. That's Lori's boyfriend. Like, wow. Lori did nothing for Bobby in this entire episode. She just stood there, like, watching her boyfriend get abused like it's nothing.
Yeah, and then technically...
Carlola, yeah. Those two
were so great together. Like, I want a whole episode about Carl and Lola and their, like hatred towards each other for some reason.
No, I made this joke that they're Vegeta and Frieza because those two hate each other. Imagine if we get the Carl and Lola episode and it just visually looks like an anime.
Oh.
That would be absolutely stupid, but friggin' fun.
I mean,
they
kind of did that. They did that kind of thing in like one of the early Loud House shorts where they were fighting over the last slice of pizza. They kind of did that. So I'd say it's.
Then the 10-headed beasts, they did that.
Yeah, so I'd say it's not too far of a stretch. But since they're doing more.
My point is, I wouldn't mind seeing Wano's style change though. That would be very interesting.
Yeah,
and especially in a gumball manner, that would be fun to like watch.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that because like we had the Carl and Adelaide episode, which really did that, and like I thought Carl would have liked Lola because Lola's kind of like the second half of Adelaide with like Adelaide because Adelaide's like Lola and Lana, they had like a fusion. But the fact that Carl and Lola just hate each other for some reason was really funny, and I want to see more of those two just like bickering.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like Carl, like we know that like Lola's the kind of kid who like snitches a lot, and she's real possessive of her stuff, but then Carl's the kind of kid who's just like, I don't care, I just do what I want, I'm a gangster, you know. So it kind of makes sense that it would. So it makes sense that they'd be like all at each other's throats in that kind of sense. As for something else related to Curse, we saw like when Lynn threw that toilet paper roll at Bobby and to get into the bathroom. We saw Ronnie Ann actually put her hand on Lana's hat.
Oh my, yeah. Yeah, like I didn't notice that until someone pointed out on Twitter, and I'm like, oh my god, she is so close to being an honorary Loud sister, but we're not there yet. One day.
Not quite.
I just want Ronnie Ann to just interact more with all of the Loud sisters. Like, I want to know how they feel about Ronnie Ann, especially because her and Lincoln are so close. Like, what are their feelings on the two, you know? Because that's another thing I always want with Bobby as well, because, you know, Bobby knows that Sid and Ronnie Ann are super close and they're best friends. But how does Bobby feel about Lincoln hanging out with Ronnie Ann after, you know, he almost, like, Lincoln almost, you know, hurt Ronnie Ann's feelings the first time they actually went on a double date and stuff, so.
I mean, the way Ronnie Ann talks about Bobby, I mean, like the way Ronnie Ann talks about Lincoln now, I feel like Bobby's more aware that Lincoln's pretty cool, and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I've always wanted that, and same with like Lori, with Lincoln and Ronnie Ann now, because like she used to be like the big shipper of Ronnie Kid, and you know she was happy when she was telling Lincoln like, I know you're excited to see Ronnie and City Slickers, but again, I'd like to see like now that their status is more than what they've been before, what do other people feel about them being together. So I had an idea like for this where Lori and Bobby got into a fight on their own or something while they're visiting in the city, and Lincoln and Ronnie find out they're fighting, and Lincoln and Ronnie are the ones that have to bring Lori and Bobby back together. And so they all just go on a double date, and Lincoln and Ronnie try to get Lori and Bobby to talk to each other again. That's the kind of thing I would want. if they did a Save the Date 2.0. Not the whole, like, Lincoln hurting Ronnie's feelings and Bobby's upset about it. No, it'd be like Lori and Bobby would get into a fight, and Lincoln and Ronnie would have to be the ones to bring them back together.
Yeah, because, like, maybe Lincoln is afraid that Lori and Bobby splitting up or breaking up like that would mean he wouldn't be able to see, like, Ronnie Ann anymore, because Bobby would try to keep her away.
Yeah.
Not really, but I would say, but one thing I want to talk about is mine is that the way they, like, formulated this episode, I really enjoyed. I feel like if you want to make a really good crossover-like episode, this is the format you go with. Like, pre-established that they're going to go to that place. Like, I counted how much time the Louds were there for an episode. I counted 8 minutes worth of, like, footage that included them, or included the cast, Santiago's in the Loud, or included them in the Loud House. Like, including the Lincoln phone call, I counted 8 minutes worth of footage, and I feel like, considering they managed at least balance it out well, I feel like if you wanted to expand, like, if you want to do another crossover between them, do it like that. Pre-establish that. Pre-establish that whoever they cross over is going to play a part ahead of time before we see them. Like, they didn't have to set up the fact that Louds would offer it. But they did. They set up Lincoln and Ronnie, then they set up Bobby and Lori. Then eventually both plot lines just connect. Anyway, that's all.
Yeah, I like how they did that, because, especially considering they're going to be doing more crossovers down the line. Like, I feel like that's a good way to handle it. Like, if you're going to do a big crossover like that, like, make it a double length episode, because you've got that time to, like, make sure everything's set up properly, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I agree with what you said.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because, like, I do like how they set it up in the episode with the Ronniecoln phone call and having, because, like, when I first watched the episode, and before the phone call, Ronnie and her family are in line to see Ernesto, and Ronnie is chewing the bubble gum and blowing the bubble, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's what Lincoln does in the second half of the episode. And so then that's when he calls and they're both bonding over, doing little shapes with bubble gum, and it's like, oh, look at them bonding, and then that's the setup, and then the payoff is in the second half, which is great, because that's the little thing they're buying with. And then, we had the Lori and Bobby little call where she was like, oh, my boo-boo bear has all boo-boos, which was super precious. Yeah. That was really cute. And then, of course, her saying, oh, why don't you guys just come over to the Loud House and stay with us? And then they set that up, which is great, because I do like when, like you said, like, it is nice when, the Louds should play a big role in the episode, but it also is nice when we get those little cameos, because, Lori's gotten, like, a bunch of cameos in the Casagrandes and mentions from Bobby, but even though she doesn't play a significant role, like, Bird has flown, she just shows up as a cameo phone call to be like, oh yeah, I'm still here, I still exist, kind of thing. Or Friend did, where Ronnie was talking to Lincoln, but I feel like with Friend did, it was more of like when she said that, I saw an old guy with white hair and I thought it was you. It was setting up, oh, she's lonely, but then she meets Sid, so that kind of makes sense. But I do like when they do kind of bring the Louds in as little cameos in random episodes to acknowledge that the relationships are still something important, like, get Lori and Bobby most of the time. But yeah, if you are going to do another crossover, make sure you do establish the setup and payoff. But, one of my favorite specials in the Loud House is Gladys Thanksgiving, which has both of my two favorite families. And I feel like Cursed doesn't, like, it's not superior to Gladys Thanksgiving. I don't think it lives up to what Gladys Thanksgiving did, because of course Gladys Thanksgiving was a crossover, but it has a lot of similarities with that. Gladys Thanksgiving, it was all about Lori and Bobby and the Louds of Casagrandes fighting over who would get them for Thanksgiving. The first half was trying to get Lori and Bobby to stay, and Cursed, the first half was trying to show Rosa and Ernesto that the city that Great Lake City also stands for Good Luck City, and the video with Sergio and stuff. And then the second half was the crossover, except with Last Thanksgiving, the Loud stayed the whole time, and Cursed, they just waved goodbye, and then we never saw them again, and they probably still think the Casagrandes are in the woods. But yeah, I you know, it doesn't, I was really hoping that Cursed was going to be even better than Last Thanksgiving with interactions and the crossover, but this was more just like, yeah, we're still doing crossover, but this is not like a really heavy crossover, and I hope maybe we'll get the true Last Thanksgiving part 2, because to me this is just more like let's call it Last Thanksgiving 1.0 or 1.5 or something, because like in the middle, not really a true crossover.
I would say 1.5.
1.5, yeah, not a true crossover, but just like we remember that crossovers exist, and we still want to have these two families come together and do like, you know, shipping and interactions, even though it's not a lot. It's more just the 1.5 of crossovers, and then hopefully we get the true crossover after it.
The 2.0, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Cursed worked for what it was trying to do, because like we knew it was mostly about Rosa thinking Great Lake City was cursed. So it's like a Casagrandes episode first, and then a crossover second. But I like what they did with the crossover, especially the scene with them driving away and Lincoln watching. Yeah, I just really like the way they actually handled the crossover aspect, even if the crossover wasn't like the biggest thing. Like, I mean, it's the most popular part of it, but it's not like the number one priority. It's like the number 2 priority, kind of.
So, do you guys have any other final thoughts on Curse before we head over to my last thing I want to do with you guys?
Not much I haven't said already. I think I've pretty much finished up my thoughts.
Not really.
Okay, so yes, that was all of our. We had a very long discussion there about Curse, but there's one last thing I want to do with you guys before we go. A little bonus game I want to do with you guys. So, as you know, the Casagrandes is finally done with season 1. We finally wrapped up season 1. We're finally done with season 1 at last. And I decided, my friend King Mitch actually gave me this idea for the podcast to do a little fun game comparing season 1 Loud House episodes to season 1 Casagrande episodes. And so I made a little list of episodes I want to go through and ask you guys to compare them of which one is the better episode from the seasons.
All right.
Okay.
This is probably gonna have to take some like remembering, because that's gonna make me use some brain meats, because
Yes.
like, I haven't seen those episodes in a while.
I give you guys some thinking food here, but
Okay, yeah.
the first one I want to do. Yeah. All right. So the first one I want to do is an easy one, since you know we're all big Ronnie Kid shippers. So I want to start out with the first one, which one is the better episode? Save the Date versus the horoscope. Yes, that was one you said. So JD, since you suggested it, I'd like you to go first. Which one do you think is the better episode?
So both have their iconic moments. Let's be real, but on a story based quality, in terms of like quality and story, horoscope wins. But in terms of like actual but in terms of like an actual fresh feeling, and it's more iconic value to its show, Save the Day. But if I'm gonna go with the one I personally enjoyed more, I'm gonna be honest. It's Save the Day. I know that season 1 Lighthouse did not have the best writing, but it just felt like it was when you think about it, it's actually one of the most unique episodes of its season, though. Like, every other episode is just Lincoln and the sisters, or just Lincoln solo. What happened? We actually got Lincoln plus someone else that had been introduced ahead of time. But meanwhile, in horoscope, it's pre-established, but Save the Date just feels more fresh because you don't know much about the way these two interact. until you fully watch it. Whereas horoscope ahead of time, you know how they interact. That fair?
That's fair, yeah. Nina, what about
Yeah.
you? Save the date or horoscope?
Okay, well, first off, I've talked to you about this. You know I don't like how Bobby ditched Lori because Lincoln hurt Ronnie Ann's feelings. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of that. But, like, then again, you did say that, like, Bobby's protective of his sister and doesn't want her feelings being hurt. But, like, yeah, I mean, like, at the time, like JD said at the time, there wasn't really much going for season 1. Like, episodes just kind of happened. Like it was new for its time. Like, as people were starting to like watch it and get into it, and the fandom was starting to form. Like the episodes were like pretty good season 1, but like save the date. Like, that's the kind of thing that that's the kind of defining moment that really sets the kind of show in stone, along with relative chaos. But this isn't about that.
Yeah, not yet. Not until season 2 is done with Casagrandes.
Yeah, but save the date. It definitely set the Loud House on its path towards becoming a relevant big sensation. So yeah, and like the fact that Ronnie Ann and Lincoln, like, they actually kissed in that episode, even though that was like Ronnie Ann's first physical appearance. So like the fact that the fact that they kissed that early, like, in the show, instead of like Ronnie Ann just being like a crush like in Hat that just kind of develops over time. But yeah, they actually like kicked off the Ronniecoln thing with a kiss, and their development as the Ronniecoln as a duo. Like, their development went on from there, and it's actually really interesting to think about in context of what happened, because my headcanon is that they kiss to like just to get Lori and Bobby off their backs, because they both knew that Bobby would be angry and Lori would be whining and all that. So yeah, but like overall, save the date is what I don't know, well, I mean, JD said it best. Like, it was pretty unique for its time, and it started off Ronniecoln development in a really interesting way. And they start to connect with each other a lot more over the course of the show, over like 4 or 5 seasons, stuff like that. And then we got the Casagrandes spinoff, which puts even more of a spotlight on Ronnie Ann, because she got super popular in the fandom, and Nick was like, "Oh, we gotta do more with Ronnie Ann and Bobby and the rest of the family." like Save the Date was a really big thing for the show. It really put it in the spotlight. And as for Horoscope, Horoscope is also interesting, because we know that Ronnie Ann is worried, if Ronnie Ann is afraid of getting too deeply involved with Lincoln that quickly, because she doesn't know. She's worried it'll turn out wrong and it'll ruin everything, because as we've seen more of Ronnie Ann and her development as an individual character, we see that she takes this kind of thing more seriously, especially with her parents divorcing, having to move away from Royal Woods to live at the Casagrandes, all that. But all of this wouldn't have happened without Save the Date. Yeah, Save the Date is just really monumental, so I'd say that's the better episode. But Horoscope is really good in its own right, because we got to see Ronnie Ann's side of the relationship.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I would definitely agree, because without Save the Date, Horoscope wouldn't exist. You know?
Yeah,
I don't think we've ever gotten Horoscope if Save the Date never would have happened, you know? because Save the Date was the whole, like, real establishment of Ronniecoln being a thing that exists in the show. Because, like, you know, if Ronniecoln would have never been, you know, made as a character, like, who would Lincoln be paired up with in Save the Date, or if we ever would have gotten episodes like that, or again, developing their relationship, because, you know, you would think with season 1, they didn't know how popular Ronnie was going to get until that episode. And once that episode happened, you know, they were like, oh, well, Ronnie is, like, super duper popular. Well, how is that possible? Well, because you paired her up with Lincoln. That makes sense, you know? Once you make a character for... Oh, no, go ahead. Yes.
Okay, hot take. That is the most... Save the Date is the most influential episode in both series. Yeah, but, like, when I mean, like, it's the most influential, I mean, like, not just because it set up Ronniecoln and made Ronniecoln the beloved fan favorite she is now, but I mean, like, when you think about it, this was the one episode that really, like, actually got into people's minds and told them, what shit am I missing out on? Because, oh my god, this is actually fantastic.
Well, that's the first episode I saw with the Loud House, you know, because I saw a poster for Save the Date, and I was like, oh, well, I don't know who these characters are, but I'm really interested in what could happen. And without Save the Date, I would not be into the Loud House right now, because, you know, I liked the show, I liked what I saw, but then when I saw the Ronniecoln kiss, I was like, well, now I want to know where this goes. And it's been, like, an ongoing thing. Like, I was afraid that Ronniecoln would not come back after Save the Day or season 1 or anything, because, you know, she only had 3 appearances in season 1, then season 2, of course, they moved her away. But then once, you know, she got her own show, they finally said, oh, right, we actually have to keep, you know, establishing her relationship with Lincoln, because that's kind of the important thing that's been building up for 4 seasons, counting all her appearances in each season of Loud House. She's a very important character in Lincoln's life that they actually need to keep remembering. So, but again, without Save the Date, she wouldn't be this fan favorite character, you know? People would probably still like her. But again, the reason that she's so popular is because of her relationship with Lincoln. We love seeing them together. They have such great chemistry together. And it's like, we want to see more of this. Like, don't forget that these two have a great establishing relationship. You know, and without Save the Date, we wouldn't have, like, you know, like, Shell Shock and Road to Chaos and City Slickers.
We wouldn't have this whole story.
We wouldn't have this whole story. And again, we wouldn't have Horoscope. Horoscope wouldn't exist without Save the Date. I don't think they would have
gotten that scene in Cursed.
Exactly. Like, Horoscope is like the shipping fuel episode. But if Ronniecoln was never a thing, we wouldn't get it.
The kickstart.
Exactly. Like, we would, without them being established as a thing, we would not gotten Horoscope. It's part of one of the big story arc. Like, I don't know what to say story arcs, but like one of the biggest developing arcs of Lincoln's relationship.
They're just best friends, you guys. Best friends.
Best friends. Just a couple of pals. We all collectively agree, Save the Day. All right, so we gotta get into the next one before we go out of chaos. Okay, so the next one I have on this list here is Study Muffin from season 1 versus Stress Test from Casagrandes season 1. Yeah.
JD go first.
Yeah, JD, I'd like you to go first. Study Muffin from Loud House or Stress Test from Casagrandes?
The only reason I would say I know Study Muffin is either because you or because the sisters were straight sipping. Meanwhile, Stress Test is a really good Bobby episode. Study Muffin is a very mid-tier Loud Sisters sip. Study Muffin is hilarious for the simping aspect, but Stress Test is just genuinely better. One has 9 sisters thirsting over a grown-ass man. And the other one is about a teenager who's going through a relatable struggle of, how can I complete this test? And truthfully, Stress Test is the better episode.
Okay, Nina, what about you? Study Muffin or Stress Test? I feel like I would know your answer.
Yeah. All right. All right.
It's Study Muffin, isn't it?
Okay, yeah, it was like JD said, like Study Muffin, like it was okay, like for its time, because like season 1, like that was when the show was just getting started, and it was still like trying to to figure out what it wanted to do, and like now it's at the point where like they know what they're doing. Like I'd say Study Muffin was okay for its time, because like it was pretty funny, like seeing the sisters simping, like JD said, but like in hindsight, it just feels like a funny episode, like you would see the kind of thing you would see in like a lot of other cartoons or something. Like it just kind of exists for me, if you know what I mean. And then like stress tests. Yeah. Stress. Yeah, I feel like you already know what I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna. Yeah, stress test. Stress tests. The stress test is the reason I ended up loving Bobby as a character. Like, I watched that episode, and he was getting super nervous. He was afraid he was gonna fail and all that. Like seeing all that unfold was the moment that made me realize I was gonna like Bobby as a character a lot more than I did back when he was just Lori's boyfriend. Because like when I was watching Stress Test and seeing all that happen, I resonated with Bobby a lot. And like when I was in high school, I always had like trouble focusing, and I was afraid of failing and all that. So like seeing Bobby go through that same kind of struggle, it definitely made me feel like I wasn't alone in the world, and like there were other people dealing with that same kind of thing. But like when I was in high school, I always felt alone. Like I felt like nobody really understood me. So seeing Bobby go through it all, yeah, it just made me really resonate with him a lot. Like I saw how his family was so supportive of him, and it's just the kind of thing where like I wish that would have happened with me, and I'm like, I don't know, but that I don't want to get too depressing, but like that was the moment that made me realize Bobby was a favorite of mine. Like watching that episode, it made me feel like I wasn't alone. I had that kind of character that I could project on, a character I can see myself in, and like episodes like Flea Market and This Bird Has Flown, they continued that, and that's just the reason I love Bobby today, and it's that episode that gave Bobby a lot, and it started giving Bobby development as an individual character, when back in the day he was just Lori's boyfriend and kind of sort of Ronnie Ann's sister. Like that was the episode that started to make Bobby his own character, and like the reason I love him as a character today. And like, yeah, I gotta say Stress Test is my favorite because of that. Because I definitely wasn't expecting to see that much of myself in Bobby, and like it was just really intriguing to me. It was just awesome. So yeah, I'd say Stress Test is better.
Yeah, I would. Oh, yeah, I definitely would say Stress Test for sure, because that is an episode that anybody can relate to with struggling on tests and stuff. Because as someone who's diagnosed with ADHD, like when I saw an episode about Bobby struggling on doing a test, I was like, oh, well, that's exactly something that I've experienced with my life, where Study Muffin is just cringe AF. Like, no, I don't want to watch Study Muffin again. Like, never again, especially because, like, Lori forgets about Bobby, but then is like, you know, I had a crush on Bobby had a crush on a teacher, but that was BL before Lori. Yeah, no, Lori, don't. But yeah, Stress Test, the better episode by a long shot. Never want to watch Study Muffin again. Okay, let's move to the next one I have here, which is from the Loud House Season 1, Cereal Offender, the episode where Lincoln wants to get that cereal at the store, versus Who's Shopping for Dinner, the one with Ronnie and getting ingredients for Rosa. JD, I want to ask you, which is the better episode, Serial Offender or Who's Shopping for Dinner?
Like, I get that the season 1 formula was to have Lincoln learn a lesson more and more. But, like, I'm not even gonna lie, it is a very mean-spirited episode for the way it treated him. Before the big, such a lot wrong in the family, slow monitor. Yeah, serial offender was the original torture one. Cause, like, all dude wanted was just to do what his mom asked him to do. I mean, he could get the cereal he'd been wanting for so long. But what happened? Little blonde kid with the white beanie, his sister started messing it up. Even if they did prepare him by getting the cereal, like, the way they executed, like, damn, that was kind of cruel. So, but what's happening for
And then they what? Yeah.
Learn how to relate to Ronnie and that experience.
Yeah, like
So I'd have to say.
What about you, Nino? Serial Offender or Who's Shopping for Dinner?
Okay, I honestly didn't really remember what happened in Serial Offender until JD started talking about it earlier. But what I think about, like, what he said, like, I do think that, in hindsight, a lot of season 1 episodes, like, I felt like the lessons they were trying to teach, like, most of the time, it felt like they were just kind of talking down to the audience, like they're stupid or something. But, like, I don't know, like, I honestly haven't watched, like, a lot of season 1 episodes in a while, because they just don't really seem to interest me anymore. They just kind of happened, and, like, I'm past them, but... I had to go by Guess Who's Shopping for Dinner by default, because, like, I don't know, Serial Offender just, like, happened and I, like, forgot about it. Whereas with Guess Who's Shopping for Dinner, they did a lot. Like, they took a very basic premise and they did something really cool with it. Like with Phoebe Powers and all that. Like me and Sonny were talking about that the last time I was on the podcast when that episode had come out, and like they took that very simple premise and of like Ronnie Ann learns how to handle groceries or something, and they did something really cool with it. Like Ronnie Ann wanted to go see the new Phoebe Powers movie and get an autograph from Phoebe Powers herself. But she had to get those groceries for Rosa, and then like it turned out like, well, like I'm pretty sure y'all already know where I'm going with this. Like they took a basic premise and did something really, but they made it a very enjoyable episode. So like it's that kind of thing that I want to see more of in the Casagrandes and the Loud House. So like, Guess Who's Shopping for Dinner would probably be my pick.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because, like, Serial Offender, like, again, it's one of those season 1 episodes I haven't revisited in a long time, and I told myself eventually I will try to go back and watch season 1 of Loud House again, because I did it, like, 2 years ago to change my opinion on episodes, but I haven't revisited it since then, and there's also episodes from the other seasons I haven't revisited and I want to go back to, so I haven't seen the episode in a while, but I do agree that Who's Shopping for Dinner is probably superior, just because they're both similar in premises, just from, like, them both shopping for stuff. But in the case of Ronnie Ann, you know, they did a great job with, like, doing it with a simple premise. We were all like, oh, Ronnie Ann's shopping for ingredients, that'll be kind of boring. But they did the whole thing with Phoebe Powers, and the ending was really climactic, and they did such a good job with it. And, you know, Ronnie Ann learning that you can't always go the easy way out on these kind of things, and I really did like the way they did that with that episode, and yeah, I definitely would agree that's the better episode for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so I definitely think that'll be the last one we'll do now, so we can wrap this whole thing up. But yeah, so JD, Nino, thank you guys both so much for coming on to the podcast. Both of you showing up this time on the podcast.
No problem.
Thank you guys again for coming on.
Yeah, it's been real. Yeah, it's been really fun to come on the podcast again. Like, for us to, like, ramble about Ronniecoln for, like, 10, 20 minutes on end.
Yeah. I knew because you two are two of the really big Ronniecoln fans I know in the Discord server, so I wanted to have two people on for this special episode, because, you know, we needed to highlight all the Ronniecoln, because, yeah, there was a lot of fuel in that episode for sure, so, again, and thank you guys for doing the little game there for it. It was really fun to compare those episodes, but again, thank you guys so much for doing this. But before we go, I want to ask you, JD, you go first. Is there anything you want to plug? Any social media you want to plug on my show?
Well, I did it last time, but as always, you can find me on Twitter as YaHomieJD. Find me on Instagram as Future Xenorod, and YouTube as Dirkweave. Otherwise, that's it.
And Nina, what about you? Any social media you'd like to plug on my show?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter as Niobium Moon, so I talk a lot about the Loud House on there, and I occasionally also talk about other shows like Hilda and Amphibia, and also like video games like
Season 2
Sonic and all that.
awesome.
And I'm currently doing. I've also got a Ronnie and Dances 2 song account. And I take a gif of like Ronnie Ann doing that dance from the acid trip, the acid trip cleansing part from Cursed. So I take that gif and put a song over that, and I'm taking DMs, I'm taking song submissions in my DMs, and I'll get around to them as soon as I can. So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, when JD posted that yesterday, and I'm like, wait, Nino set this up? And I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. The Ronnie and Dances account. That is amazing.
No. I also set it up, but I gave him the first 3 songs. Honestly, I didn't expect. Honestly, I was surprised at how much the Blinding Lights one blew up, but I can see why though, because they did that man dirty.
Yes, please, everybody, go check out the Ronnie and Dances account. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. And yes, as for me, if you have any questions about the podcast or want to discuss the podcast with me, you can contact me over at XSunnyClips on Twitter, or at the podcast's Twitter, CasaLoud Chats. And again, I want to thank JD and Neil for coming on again as my two special guests for this show. And we'll see you all next time on CasaLoud Chats.